In Russia, the Ukrainian soldiers continue to score major victories, while the Ukrainian war continues on the territory of Ukraine. Russia wanted to create a new government on the territory of Ukraine, but after successive failures, it is almost decimated by nerves. The leader of the heroic Ukrainian army, Volodymyr Zelensky, has been putting up unprecedented resistance on the ground for many years. The events that took place on these days, the brave Ukrainian soldiers, the heroic leader Zelensky will be the subject of history books in the future. Russian President Putin thought that when he entered the territory of Ukraine, Zelensky would get scared and run away, and he would take Kiev in a relaxed way. But he faced strong resistance from the brave people and soldiers of Ukraine, as well as missile systems from the United States, Bayraktar TB2s from Turkey, Chechen soldiers who are notorious fighters, and financial support from Western countries. According to the news from the field, the head of the Luhansk region, Serhiy Haidai, said that Russian forces trying to cross into the Severodonetsk region were detected with Bayraktar TB2s, saying that he predicted that they would try to cross into the Severodonetsk region. The president explained that there were 3 bridges that Ukrainian commanders were trying to cross into that region, and that they had already gone to the bridges and placed remote-controlled bombs. Then, when they detected the Russian army trying to cross into the region with the Bayraktars, they waited for it to rise above the bridge and blew up the Russian army on the bridge. There were Russian soldiers who died in the area, as well as wounded soldiers. In order to prevent the Russian armies from trying to come to support their troops, the United States was bombarded in front of the Russian soldiers who came to support with harpoon weapons. Between Luhansk and the Severodonetsk region, the Russian army decisively inflicted another heavy loss. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine congratulated the Ukrainian soldiers on this operation. After this operation conducted by the Ukrainian army, the Russian army suffered heavy losses and lost the logistics point where it would spend its belongings such as ammunition and equipment. Another shocking news came from inside the army. It soon became clear that one of the soldiers who had just entered the Ukrainian army was a Russian agent. After back-to-back losses against Ukraine, Russian President Putin began sending agents to Ukraine to find out about Ukraine's plans. But experienced Ukrainian commanders soon identified and captured Russian agents before they had time to explain about their own army. Russia is practically floundering. Every day he tries to try a different tactic, but the losses continue to come back to back. Finally, they were hopeful of the Russian agents, but the Ukrainian senior commanders did not give them the opportunity. The Russian agent was interrogated and is known to have provided important information about Russia. However, this information will have an impact on the course of the war, so it is currently not disclosed. Another piece of news from the Kremlin has begun to reinforce claims that Putin will be demoted. The other day it was announced that some of Putin's belongings had been emptied from his room in the Kremlin. The former leader has now lost his power in the Kremlin. It is curious what will be the end of Putin and Russia at the end of the next few months. We will continue to provide you with up-to-date news about Russia and Ukraine. The war between the two countries continues decisively. Among the incoming information that hot clashes are Dek and Donetsk. A new news has come that attracts attention from Ukraine, which has launched counterattacks in many regions with the help of new U.S. weapons. Ukraine launched a missile attack on a Russian military convoy with the HIMARS system. Ukrainian officer Anatoly Stefan said that 6 commanders and 5 soldiers were killed in the attack. The Ukrainian media published images of those moments. In the face of these images in Russia, discussions have started again. The Ukrainian army does not allow the Russian army to enter the urban centers of large cities, including Lviv and Kiev. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, the Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian people are bravely defending and fighting for their country, as they are fully committed to their homeland. Most of the Russian soldiers do not know where they are fighting and losing their lives in the conflict on the territory of Ukraine. The Russian Air Force and Air Defense Army of Ukraine's infrastructure targeting large-scale attacks in the Ukraine is trying to do only air defense systems thanks to modern technology, have been unable to take control of the airspace, particularly from Europe, and anti-aircraft guns caused the Russians to lose hundreds of planes. Russian military convoys, stretching for tens of kilometers along the highway from Warsaw, were detected with the Bayraktar TB2, and the convoy was neutralized with U.S. Harpoon weapons. Thanks to the flag of the Turks and the Harpoon missiles of the United States, it brought significant victories to the Ukrainian army. According to NATO, the Russian army has lost about 75,000 soldiers due to the invasion attempt. According to the statement of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Russia has so far lost more than 75,000 soldiers in the 6-month invasion attempt. Soviet Russia had not lost so many soldiers even during the 10-year war, when it invaded Afghanistan. When we compare the two wars, it becomes clear how heavy losses Ukraine inflicted on the Russian army. The insurgent Ukrainian army inflicted a heavy loss on Russia on the island of Olenivka, which Russia had captured months earlier. In recent weeks, 8 targets have been hit in an attack estimated to be with HIMARS missiles contained in an October aid package announced by the United States. In addition, 2 Tunguska Sa-22 anti-aircraft system, which belonged to Russia, was also destroyed. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine made statements about the attack. He also made threats to Russia. "Our attacks will continue," he said, "leave our territory without further losses." Putin has faced losses and sanctions that he did not expect in the unsuccessful war he launched. The end of the 6th month has come in the deck between Russia and Ukraine. Russian attacks in the eastern regions of Ukraine have been stopped quite a bit. The Russian army is unable to continue its offensive attempts. The winner of the war will be Ukraine, and the biggest loser is Putin, the former French defense minister said recently. In addition, Putin was thinking about carrying out an operation that he planned to finish in a few days, but it didn't happen the way he wanted. He started an irreversible war with his mistake and made a big mistake and made the whole world his enemy, he said. He also said that Putin seems determined to continue the war until he overthrows Zelensky, but this is a very big mistake. The loser of the war will be Russian President Vladimir Putin in every way. He will never be able to overthrow Zelensky. He has brave people and soldiers behind him. President Putin himself, away from the world, in many countries was the enemy, the people you put in an extremely difficult situation and unable to economically bankrupt businessmen's investments, and they came, one by one, the places that had lost regionally possessed, explained.